Afrinagan Gahanbar. 1. I confess myself a Mazda worshipper, and of the Zarathustra's order, a foe of the Zend Avesta, devoted to the lore of the Lord, for the holy Havana, the regulator of the ritual order, and its lord in its turn, for its sacrifice, homage, propitiation, and praise, and for that of the Asnya, the day lords of the days during daylight, and of the days in their length, for the Mahya, month lords, and the Ya-Irya, year lords, and for those of the especial seasons, and for the worship, homage, propitiation, and praise of that lofty Lord who is the ritual righteousness itself. Yea, for the worship, homage, propitiation, and praise of the lords of the days, months, years, and seasons, for those lords of the ritual order who are of all the greatest, who are the regulators of the ritual at the time of Havana. 2. To Ma'edyo Zaremya, the Lord, or to the Ma'edyo Shema, the Lord, or to Ba'edish Aya, the Lord, or to Ayathrima, Ma'edya Iria, or Hamas Bath Ma'edaya, be propitiation, homage, and praise. 3. O ye Mazdayastians, who are here present, offer ye this ritual service, and present ye the Miazda, which is that of the Ma'edyo Zaremya, taking a piece of sound flesh from a choice beast, with the full flow of milk. 4. If you're able to do this, well. If you are unable to do it, ye may take then a portion of some liquor of equal value, it matters not which it is, and have it consumed as it is proper, and so be ye discreet from your obedience, most correctly faithful in your speech, most saintly from your sanctity, best ordered in your exercise of power, lest strained by oppressions, heart easy with rejoicings, most merciful of givers, most helpful to the poor, fulfilling most the ritual, the blessed, the longed for Asha, Koi, riches, woman-minded, bringing as reward. If ye can do this, and with vigor, well. If not, bring wood to the Ratu's house, it matters not what kind, if it be well cut, or verse 5, and the very dry, and in loads of fitting size. If that is possible, well. If not, let a man bring wood to the Ratu's dwelling, and heap it up as high as the ear, or to reach the fore-shoulder, or with the forearm measure, or at least as high as the end of the hanging hand. If that is possible, well. 6. But if it has not been possible, then let the worshipper, with the mind's offering, ascribe the power to him who rules the best Ahura, saying, wherefore, for this cause, verily we offer and ascribe the sovereign power to Ahura Mazda, who rules the best, and to righteousness, the ritual and moral order, and we complete our sacrifice to them. Thus is the Miazda offered, with the well-timed prayer for blessings. 7. And in case that a man does not give of the first Miazda, which is that of the Ma'edyo Zaremya, O Spitma Zarathustra, the Ratu that has the right to that Miazda, and who has this person under his guidance, expels that false disciple who is not his Miazda with him, as a man that does not worship from the midst of the Mazda worshippers. 8. And in that case, a man does not give of the second Miazda of Spitma Zarathustra, which is that of the Ma'idyo Shema, then let the Ratu to whom the Miazda should come, and who has the person under his guidance, expel that disciple, since he comes without his Miazda, as he would a man who refuses to recite his vows from among the number of the Mazda worshippers. 9. In the case that a man does not give of the third Miazda of Spitama Zarathustra, which is that of Pa'itish Ahya, then let the Ratu who ought to receive that Miazda, who has had the person under his guidance, expel that disciple which brings no Miazda, as a detected reprobate from among the number of the Mazda-Yasnians. 10. In case that a man does not offer the fourth Miazda of Spitma Zarathustra, which is that of the Aya Therma, let the Ratu who ought to receive that Miazda, and who has the person under his guidance, expel that disciple, since he brings no Miazda, as a refuse beast from among the number of the Mazda-Yasnians. 11. In case that a man does not give of the fifth Miazda, which is that of the Ma'id-Ya-Irya, then let the Ratu to whom that Miazda belongs as a prerequisite, and whom has that person under his guidance, expel him, since he brings no Miazda, as an alien from among the number of the Mazda-Yasnians. 12. In case that a man does not give of the sixth Miazda, which is that of the Hamaspathma Adveya, O Spitma Zarathustra, let the Ratu to whom that Miazda belongs as a prerequisite and and who has this person under his discipline to learn him the lore of Ahura, expel him as ignorant, since he brings no Miazda from among the number of the Mazda-Yasnians. 13. And let him decry afterwards without hesitation, and drive him out, and let that Ratu lay upon him afterwards the expiating deeds without reserve, and in accordance with these rules let the disciple treat the Ratu. Let him beware of failure to bring his Miazda, or if he fails, let the disciple bear as is befitting what is due. A blessing is righteousness, called the best. It is weal for this man, when toward righteousness, best there is right. 14. I bless with my prayer the royal province chiefs, who are faithful worshippers of Ahura Mazda, the resplendent, the glorious, beseeching for superior strength for them, and for a more important victory, and more influential rule, and desiring for them to further authoritative power and healthful support, a long duration to their reign, and their prolonged vitality of their frames and health. 15. And I pray in my benediction for strength well shaped and stately of growth, and which smites victoriously Ahura maid and crushing, and for an ascendancy abundantly subduing all who were filled with furious hate, assaulting the evil-minded enemies, and destroying as if at once the deadly, godless foes, acting as if they have no gods. 16. And I pray in my blessing that he, the province governor, may conquer in victorious battles every malicious foe, and each malignant, profane in thoughts and words and actions. 17. And he may indeed be constantly victorious in his own religious thoughts and words and deeds, and unvarying in the smiting of every foe, and of every Deva worshipper, and that he may, as he proceeds, be well rewarded, and of good repute, possessing a far foreseeing preparation of the soul. 18. And I pray with blessings thus, live thou long, and blessed be thou. Hail to thee. Live for the aid of holy men, and for the crushing of the evil. And I pray for heaven, for thee, the best world of the saints, shining all glorious. And thus may it happen as I pray. 19. And I bless in my prayer the sacrifice, and homage, and the strength and swiftness of the day lords during the daylight, of the lords of the days in their length, of the month lords and the year lords, and of the lords of the seasons in their course, and for the worship, homage, propitiation, and praise of the lofty Lord, who is the righteous ritual itself, and of those lords of the ritual who are of all the greatest, and who are the lords of the ritual of the time of Havana, for Ma'edio Zeremiah the Lord are for Ma'edio Shema. The Lord are Ba'etish Ayam. The Lord are for Ayathrima Ma'edia Iria are Hamas Path Ma'edia. And one thing we get from that is that the ignorant, by the willfully not knowing, are different from those who are just naive, and they're treated accordingly. The Afrinagan Gahanbar is the Afrin for the morning hours from 6 to 10. By 6 to 10, we mean 6 a.m. representing sunrise and 10 a.m. So the first third of the daylight hours. And Havana, the name of the season at the time present when the text is recited, is to be used. So that can change there. In verse 2, the Ma'edio Zeremiah. And, the next group of notes here, you can refer to the proper season. So, the 26th. So we have the Ma'edio Shema, Pa'etishahya, Ayathrima, Ma'edia Iria, Hamas Pathma Edeya. And so that's all in verse 2. And we offer ye this ritual service. So, our prayers and such are supposed to be good for the whole of the righteous side. And, but it's supposed to be an encouragement to the fellow Mazdiastians to bring such things. And 8. In verse 6, saying is in parentheses after Ahura. So we, because we offer. So God is the sovereign that allows people the power, that bestows the ability for all these things to do these things. So in mentioning respect for these, we're really giving thanks to Ahura Mazda. And under his guidance expels that false, being in parentheses, disciple, in verse 7, not renders him detected among the Mazdiastians, compare for form, antara mruye siosofra daste and fra perenna aete, and the present may be used for the imperative. And that is also listed as a note in verse 8. Then let the ratu to whom, which brings as detected, as a reprobate, possibly, in verse 9, possibly having a breast burnt by the ordeal, and so detected as hot-breasted or vehement, comparing uras. Well, people dipping their hands in boiling water and all those other sort of tests, it's obvious that, well, I mean, it's not funny. But guilt or innocence can't be told. You can't tell that by that stuff. As a refuse beast, an excluded beast, a stray beast, a rejected animal. Well, humans are incarnate as animals. Let's not pretend that. But, there's a difference between being a mere animal and, yeah. So, as an alien from among the number of the Mazdaeanians, in verse 11, or possibly he is rejected when offering himself as arrived from the settlements. And without recoiling is without hesitation in verse 13, and drive him out. Siaz de oed. And verse 15, godless foes, unfriendly and untrue. Avratya. And we recall Yoe Zazente Vangau Sravahi when we refer to the as proceeds in verse 17. In verse 18, thus may it happen as I pray. So we're talking unto, so our prayers are to benefit the other, the material and the spiritual creation. So that's what's meant. Yasna 35, verse 2, and the Ahuna follows. And, in verse 19, we mention the seasons that are the appropriate. And so we'd start with the season, well, the period of the year, you could say, because if there's, there's more than 4, there's, so that's to be considered here. And just as in verse 18 is this plus this and plus this at the end.